The deep space vessel Ironclad drifted through the purple nebula of Sector 7. Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge and watched the strange clouds of gas move past the windows. Her crew of 43 humans had been traveling for 6 months. They were mapping unknown regions of space that no species had explored before. The Galactic Council had warned them. They said humans were too young as a spacefaring species. They said the outer regions held dangers that even the oldest civilizations avoided. But humans never listened to warnings. That was both their greatest weakness and their greatest strength. Lieutenant Chen looked up from his scanner console. His face showed confusion and then fear. The readings were impossible. Something massive was moving through the nebula toward them. It was alive. It was hunting. "Captain, I am detecting a biological signature," Chen said. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "It is big, very big, almost 2 kilometers in length." Elena walked to his station and looked at the screen. The creature appeared as a red shape against the blue background of the scanner. It had a central body and 8 massive arms that stretched outward like the branches of a dead tree. It was moving fast. Too fast for something that size. "Avoid Kraken," Elena whispered. She had heard stories about these creatures. Every species in the galaxy had legends about them. They were ancient things that lived in the spaces between stars. They fed on ships and the energy inside them. Most civilizations considered them myths. Those that knew they were real simply avoided their territories. The Ironclad was not equipped for this encounter. It was an exploration vessel, not a warship. They had basic defensive weapons, but nothing that could harm a creature of that size. Elena made a quick decision. "All hands to battle stations. Engineering, give me maximum power to engines." "We are running." The ship hummed as the engines powered up. The Ironclad began to accelerate, pushing through the nebula at speeds that made the hull groan. But when Elena looked at the scanner, her heart sank. The Kraken was faster. It was closing the distance between them with terrible speed. Chief Engineer Morrison's voice came through the communication system. "Captain, the engines are at 115%. Any more and we risk core breach." "Understood, Morrison." "Keep them steady." The Kraken reached them in less than 3 minutes. The first arm struck the ship like a hammer hitting a tin can. The entire vessel shook. Crew members fell from their seats. Alarms began screaming throughout the ship. Elena grabbed her command chair to stay standing. Through the main window, she saw the creature for the first time with her own eyes. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Its skin was dark purple, almost black, and it glowed with strange bioluminescent patterns. Its eyes were the size of shuttlecraft, and they burned with an ancient hunger. This thing had existed before most civilizations were born. It had eaten thousands of ships across millions of years. The arms began to wrap around the Ironclad. Elena could hear the hull groaning as the pressure increased. Metal that was designed to withstand the vacuum of space and the heat of atmospheric entry was bending under the creature's strength. "Hull integrity at 80% and dropping," Chan reported. "We have breaches on decks 4, 5, and 7. Emergency force fields are holding, but they will not last long." Elena's mind raced through options. They could not outrun it. They could not fight it. Their weapons would be like insect bites to something that large. Surrender was not possible because the creature did not want prisoners. It wanted food. She thought about what made humans different from other species. The Galactic Council always said that humans were strange. They were not the strongest species. They were not the smartest. They did not have natural weapons or special abilities. But they had something else. They had a refusal to accept defeat. They had creativity born from desperation. They had the ability to do impossible things when all other options were gone. "Morrison," Elena said into the communication system, "I need you to do something crazy." "I am listening, Captain." "Can you reverse the polarity of our shield generators and create an outward pulse instead of an inward barrier?" There was silence for a moment. That would burn out the entire shield system. We would have no protection afterward. But would it work? Would it create enough force to push something away from the hull? Morrison's voice came back with a hint of excitement. It might. The energy discharge would be massive, like a bomb going off against anything touching our hull. But Captain, the feedback could destroy the generators and damage everything connected to them. Do it, Elena ordered. Everyone, brace for impact. The Kraken continued to squeeze. The hull integrity dropped to 60%. Crew members on the damaged decks were evacuating to safer areas. The creature's arms tightened like a fist closing around a small animal. It had done this countless times before. It knew that ships always broke eventually. It knew that the soft creatures inside would soon be exposed to the vacuum and become easy meals. But it had never encountered humans before. Morrison worked fast. His engineering team rerouted power from every non-essential system on the ship. Life support went to minimum. Lights dimmed throughout the vessel. Every bit of energy flowed to the shield generators. The machines were screaming with the overload. Warning lights flashed everywhere in engineering. "Shield pulse ready on your command, Captain," Morrison reported. Elena watched the hull integrity number drop. 55%, 50%, 45%. She needed to time this perfectly. Too early and the pulse would not have maximum effect. Too late and the ship would crack open like an egg. The Kraken squeezed harder. It could feel that the ship was close to breaking. Its ancient instincts told it that food was moments away. It did not understand that these small creatures inside were not giving up. It did not understand that humans fought hardest when death was closest. 40%, 35%. "Now, Morrison, fire everything." The shield generators exploded with energy. Instead of creating a protective barrier around the ship, they pushed outward with devastating force. The pulse hit the Kraken's arms like 1,000 explosions happening at once. The creature's grip loosened for just a moment as pain shot through its massive body. It had never felt pain from prey before. Ships were not supposed to fight back. They were supposed to break and die. "Engines to maximum. Get us out of its reach," Elena shouted. The ironclad surged forward. Its damaged hull groaned as the engines pushed it beyond safe limits. The ship tore free from the Kraken's loosened grip and shot through the nebula like a bullet. Behind them, the creature roared with a sound that traveled through space itself. It was a psychic scream of rage and confusion. But the Kraken was not finished. It recovered from its surprise and began to pursue. It was angry now. This prey had hurt it. This prey had escaped its grip. That had never happened before. The creature's ancient pride demanded that it catch and destroy these small things that it dared to resist. Elena saw the Kraken following on the scanner. It was fast, but the ironclad was faster now. The creature's injury had slowed it slightly, but they could not run forever. The engines were already damaged from the overload. Morrison reported that they had maybe 10 minutes of maximum thrust before the core failed completely. "We need a plan," Elena said to her bridge crew. "We cannot fight it and we cannot outrun it forever. What do we have?" Lieutenant Chun studied his screens. "Captain, there is a small asteroid field ahead, very dense. Thousands of rocks ranging from small to very large." Security Officer Johnson spoke up. "We could use the asteroids as cover. The Kraken is huge. It cannot fit between the rocks as easily as we can." Elena nodded. It was a good idea, but not enough. The creature would simply push through the asteroids or wait at the edge for them to come out. They needed something more. Then she saw it on the scanner. Deep within the asteroid field was a massive rock nearly 10 kilometers across. And at its center was a reading that made her smile for the first time since this nightmare began. "Chun, is that what I think it is?" Chun checked the reading twice. "Yes, Captain. The large asteroid has an unstable core. It is rich in volatile minerals. If something triggered a reaction inside it, the explosion would be enormous." Elena's plan formed quickly. Here's what we are going to do. We fly into the asteroid field with the Kraken following us. We lead it toward the big rock. Then we use our remaining weapons to crack the asteroid open while we get away as fast as possible. The timing would need to be perfect, Johnson said. Too early, and the Kraken might escape the blast. Too late, and we get caught in it too. I know, Elena replied. But perfect timing is what humans do best when we have no other choice. The ironclad plunged into the asteroid field. Rocks of all sizes surrounded them like a maze of stone. The pilot, a young woman named Rodriguez, navigated through the obstacles with incredible skill. She had grown up flying cargo ships through dangerous zones. This was similar, but with much higher stakes. Behind them, the Kraken entered the field. Its massive body slammed into asteroids and pushed them aside. But the rocks were slowing it down. It could not move as freely here as it could in open space. Smaller asteroids bounced off its thick hide, but the larger ones forced it to go around. The gap between predator and prey grew larger as the ironclad weaved through spaces too small for the Kraken to follow. Elena watched the scanner as they approached a large asteroid with the unstable core. "Weapons ready?" she asked. "Ready, Captain," Johnson confirmed. 2 missiles loaded. They should be enough to crack the surface and reach the core. The ironclad burst out of the dense part of the asteroid field into a clearing. The massive rock loomed before them, a mountain of stone floating in the void. Elena could see the Kraken emerging behind them, its eyes burning with hunger and rage. "Fire missiles now. Rodriguez, get us out of here at maximum speed." The 2 missiles streaked toward the asteroid. The ironclad turned hard and accelerated back into the asteroid field on a different path. Behind them, the missiles struck the massive rock and burrowed deep into its surface before exploding. For a moment, nothing happened. Elena's heart stopped. Had the plan failed? Then the asteroid began to glow from within. Cracks of bright orange light spread across its surface. The Kraken, focused only on chasing the ship, did not understand the danger until it was too late. The asteroid exploded with the force of a small sun. The blast waves swept through the clearing and caught the Kraken fully. The creature that had lived for millions of years, that had eaten countless ships and feared nothing in the universe, was consumed by fire and force. Its massive body was torn apart in an instant. The ironclad rode the edge of the blast wave. The ship shook violently and more alarms sounded, but the hull held. The damaged vessel survived the explosion and emerged from the asteroid field, battered but intact. Elena let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Around her, the bridge crew sat in stunned silence. They had done the impossible. They had killed a void Kraken, a creature that legend said could not be killed. Morrison's voice came through the communication system. "Captain, I do not know how, but we are still flying. Engines are damaged but functional. We can make it to the nearest station for repairs." Elena smiled and looked at her crew. These humans who had refused to die. These fragile beings who had faced an ancient horror and won through creativity and courage. "Good work, everyone," she said quietly. "Let us go home." The ironclad turned toward friendly space and began its slow journey back to civilization. Behind it, the remains of the Kraken drifted among the asteroids. And somewhere in the galaxy, other ancient creatures would soon hear the story of the small ship that fought back. They would learn a new lesson that day. Humans were not prey. Humans were something else entirely. Something that even the oldest terrors of the void should learn to fear.